Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1556B, and today's date is April 30th, 2018, and the title of the episode is Deep State's Plan Much Larger and Horrific Than Originally Thought. Now, before I get started, I just want to make an announcement. I uploaded 2 interviews this weekend. The first one is with V, Crypto Z, and Crypto Cowboy. The other one is with Keith Newmeyer. They're both on the X22 Report Spotlight YouTube channel. You can also find them on the X22Report.com or NewsSentinel.com site. Scroll down a little bit, look over to your right-hand side. You can see the interview there, and you can play it right on the sites. Or you can go to Steemit. That is steemit.com/@X22Report, and you can play it right on Steemit. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, we can see the deep state, they are really backed into a corner. I mean, things are just coming down around them, and this is happening on all fronts right now. The deep state operatives like Andrew McCabe and Peter Strzok, they blindsided Flynn on January 24th, 2017, with an unannounced questioning of Trump official. Typically, a lawyer for the National Security Council would be informed of such a meeting and be present for it. The unannounced meeting took General Flynn by surprise, and he was later charged with lying. And then we find out from Strzok's text messages that he might have changed some of the messages, changed what Flynn was saying. And right now, we see Comey, we see McCabe, we see Strzok, we see Page, we see all of them going at each other. And this is just going to get worse as time goes on, because as we can see with the House Intelligence Committee saying that there was no Russian collusion, there's no reason to have Mueller, there's no reason to have any of what has been going on at all. And we can see that things are definitely happening very quickly, especially with North Korea. And you would think the corporate media would be making a huge deal out of all of this, that there is peace, that there is denuclearization, that the South and the North are coming together, that they're going to be unified once again. We see the South Korean military, they're starting to remove the loudspeakers now along the border of the North. And again, the North will probably look at this and say, okay, let's start removing our speaker systems. And again, we know that Trump is going to be meeting with Kim Jong-un, and we're starting to see that everything the deep state was trying to do, well, it is not working. Now, the next phase, and this is according to Q, they're going to try to do the same thing with Iran. This is a little bit more difficult. There's a lot more going on, and Q lays it all out. We also see that Trump is trying to convince the UK, Germany, France, Russia, talking about maybe reworking the nuclear deal with Iran. And there's a lot of stuff inside of that deal that was not made public to the American people with all these payments. And we know that the clowns, the intelligent operatives, the deep state, they have been using this money and basically using all of this to their advantage. And we'll discuss that in just a bit. But we do see that Angela Merkel and Macron, they are acknowledging the importance of retaining the JCPOA, and they committed to continue working closely together and with the U.S. on how to tackle the issues with Iran, even including a new deal. So they're kind of warming up to this fact that we might have to look at the deal and change a couple of things. So we can see we're headed in that direction right now. Russia has been modernizing the Su-25 SM-3 attack aircraft with modern electronic warfare system. There are photographs now of all of this in Syria, and we can see right now that a lot is happening in Syria right now, which is hooked into the deep state, which is hooked into Iran, and we'll be discussing that in just a bit. But we also see that out in Iraq, the U.S.-led coalition forces have closed the Baghdad headquarters of the Combined Joint Force Land Component Command headquarters. This is where the U.S. was working with the Iraqi forces to fight the Islamic State. Now, since the Islamic State has been beaten, it's no longer needed. So we can see already that things are changing right now. We see that Al-Qaeda, they are changing their name. They're creating a whole new militant group, and they're not going to be called Al-Qaeda. They're creating a new affiliate group, and they're calling it something completely different. It's Hilf Nusrat al-Islam. And this is going to be the new group there, because we can see what's happening is that Russia is going after Al-Qaeda, al-Nusra, the Islamic State, and they figure, the deep state, if we create this new group, well, they're not included anymore in the terrorist groups. Now, again, they continually do this. It's the same thing they try over and over, where they just rename the groups and they say, well, they're not part of that anymore. This is a whole new group. No, it's the same group. You're just changing the names. We see that Russia officials, they brought 15 people to The Hague from the city of Duma, and basically they're talking about what happened in Duma, and most of them are saying that there was no chemical gas attack there whatsoever. And some of them said, yes, we were there at the basement and we heard people shouting that needed to go to the hospital. We saw what was happening. They were pouring water all over them. And again, these people were not hit by chemical attacks. It was from explosions. It was from dust. They had trouble breathing. And there is no sign whatsoever of any chemical attacks in this area. So we see already that things are not what the corporate media has been telling us, not what Nikki Haley has been telling us, and all of this was staged. Now, Russia, they've been warning that there's going to be a staged false flag of a chemical attack in Syria. This is exactly what happened. And they were letting everyone know that this was going to happen. Now, of course, as soon as the deep state heard Trump say that we're going to be pulling the troops out of Syria, all of a sudden they created this false flag event to get him to do something, which he went ahead and did. He bombed Syria. And again, what did he bomb? Well, he bombed this building where there were no chemical weapons because it was hit and we saw no chemicals pour out of it. There were no reports of death of people from chlorine or sarin or anything like that. The hospitals, they weren't receiving any victims, so there really were no chemical weapons in this building. And we see that Russia and Syria, they intercepted a lot of the missiles. Some of the missiles, it looks like they didn't even have warheads on them. And I believe there was a completely different mission with firing these missiles, which we're going to talk about in a little while. We knew they were hitting the deep state operative sites, and this is exactly what they were doing. Now, the deep state, they are continually getting back at Trump, and we know that every time we see something happen like a fire or something in Trump Towers, we know that it's going back and forth. We see there is another fire in Azerbaijan, the capital of Baku, just weeks after the New York fire. So we see right now the deep state, they are sending messages to Trump, and they're continually doing this. And Q has been dropping a huge amount of intel. We're going to start at post 1286. What is being investigated? Well, Trump is being investigated. Even though Mueller and the rest say no, Trump is not being investigated, but they're really investigating is Russian collusion, which shows that they're not investigating anything because the House Intelligence Committee basically says there was no Russian collusion. Why is Mueller's team stacked with ex-Clinton senior level authorities? Because they think they are working for Mueller. Why are POTUS supporters screaming for end? Because they think Mueller is after Trump. This is a POTUS witch hunt. Rudy Giuliani was added to the mix. This is very important. Can the investigation officially publicly drop POTUS from review and continue? Yes. Why did the Podesta group close shop? Well, because the Podestas are criminals involved with Pedogate. Why are known bad actors in full support of Mueller? Because they think he's investigating Trump-Russia hoax. Why did POTUS interview Mueller a day prior to special counsel appointment, if impossible to assign position? To inform him about the sting operation. Why did Sessions recuse? Because he needed the special counsel. What are the powers of Huber and Horowitz? Well, Horowitz can refer for prosecution. Huber can prosecute. Are Democrats using a midterm tactic to win House? Yes. Are Democrats using ammo to gain majority to impeach? Yes. Impeach on what grounds? On the Russian collusion hoax. What facts exist to impeach? Absolutely none, because of the House reports that there's no evidence of collusion. Mueller report will contradict per Brennan tweet today. Nope, disconnect exists. He doesn't know what's going on. Republicans, Democrats, negative for POTUS. They are guilty. Comey release of memos to obtain special counsel. He wanted a special counsel. Special counsel, Comey, Rod Rosenstein, state POTUS not under investigation because he's not being investigated. Confused? Special counsel targeting who? The deep state. Special counsel on team? Rudy. Special counsel off team? Mueller. Where did Rudy go for a year? Who discovered Wiener's laptop? Time will tell. Tick-tock, boom. Post 1287. Special counsel and FBI raided POTUS attorney to pull Stormy Daniels' payment info. Cohen raid by FBI, public contacts, payment to Stormy Daniels. Rod Rosenstein, as we know, signed off on this. What other docs were collected? Well, it looks like there was something that had to do with maybe Hillary Rodham Clinton that relates to the Russian investigation. And it looks like if this is the case where they have videos and things like this, well, this was seized in order to be placed into evidence legally. How many places raided? Raid on the President of the United States Attorney for payment details. Think logically. How do you introduce evidence into an investigation legally? Who has everything? Methods which info collected obtained. Admissible in court of law. Insert Rudy. First public statement. It shouldn't take more than a week or two to come to a resolution on the probe. If POTUS was in a weakened position, about to be impeached, indicted, would they resign? Why are we here? Public forum. World watching. Sharing of intel to bad actors. Purpose? Not confirming special counsel is on team. Questioning everything. Timing important. Planned. Post 1288. Jim Rybicki, Chief of Staff and Senior Counselor, fired. James Baker, General Counselor, fired. Andrew McCabe, Deputy Director, fired. James Comey, Director, fired. Bill Priestap, Head of Counterintelligence and Strozik's boss, cooperating witness, power removed. Peter Strozik, Deputy Assistant Director of the Counterintelligence, cooperating witness, power removed. Lisa Page, power removed. Conspiracy, about the above, only the above, the picture. You can see how everything's being reworked right now. People are being fired. The swamp is being drained. Post 1289. Peace on the Korean Peninsula. Why isn't this big news? Should we drop a Moab on that? Timetable shift next week. Boom. Post 1292. Shall we play a game? Can you trust? You know that we know. You know what we have. Your move. And it looks like right now he's speaking, Q, he, she, the group, speaking to the deep state. Remember, the deep state listens to what Q is saying. They take that information and they both speak to each other through this, just like Q is also speaking to the people. Post 1291. FBI and Department of Justice. Can you make arrests with a crooked FBI senior team? No, that's going to be very difficult to do so. And I think this is why there haven't been arrests, because right now we still have a crooked FBI. See previous post. FBI, not easy for anyone. We are in this together. Much appreciation. It's what you don't know and can't see that will validate your efforts. Trust the plan. Step back. Remove arrests. What do you see? Stage being set. Godspeed. Like I said, this plan is putting all the pieces in their proper position to basically corner and trap the deep state. And this is what's been played out this whole entire time. This is not the deep state where we're using propaganda to make it look like we're getting them. This is getting the evidence, making it stick, and cornering these individuals to show that they're responsible for all of these things. Post 1294. Stay united. Boom week ahead. That means something big is coming either this week or next week. 1295. Be careful who you are following. Some are profiting off this movement. Some are building a big following off this movement, only then to retreat and go mainstream. Patriots make sacrifices. Some the ultimate sacrifice. Patriots are selfless. Do they ask for monthly payments to remain patriots? Think logically. To some, it's only about the money. Those who would seek personal gain at the expense of others in this movement has an agenda. You decide. This is not a game. The only profit we should be all striving for is true freedom. I completely agree. Post 1297. Personal thank you to the board owner, bakers, the autist, Annans, who continually dedicate their time and energy to the Great Awakening. You are all patriots. The hard part is coming to an end. The next phase will bring justice. Q+. Statements today needed to be made. Operators have died. They approach the field of battle without fear. They lay down their lives for you. They are selfless. They are fighting for our freedom. They fight unconditionally because they hold a core value, a value that we should all live in freedom. We honor them. We must do better to protect them. Post 302. He's talking about the U.S. Central Command, talking about Eagle Lion, Iron Eagle in Jordan, and this is being held every single year, but there's a reason why this is happening this year, and it's going to be a little different, and we're going to be talking about that in just a second. Post 1305. No name is out, and no name refers to McCain, and like we said, most likely he's going to resign. Post 1306. Define the terms of the Iran nuclear deal. Now again, he keeps, and this is Trump, he's continually saying that the Iran nuclear deal needs to be reworked. It's not good. We have these payments that we're paying Iran each year, and this has to be completely reworked. And this is why he's going to Macron. This is why he's going to Merkel. And this is why this is all coming out. So the question is, define the terms of the Iran nuclear deal. The agreement was aimed at ensuring that Tehran's nuclear program will be exclusively peaceful in return for the lifting of sanctions. Does the agreement define and confine cease and desist to the public of Iran? Yes. What if Iran created a classified satellite nuclear facility in northern Syria, which means they're doing this outside of Iran? Now, the question is this Iran doing this, or are these the clowns doing this? Just like in North Korea. They did as a way to circumvent the confinements of the agreement. What if the program never ceased? It would be bad. They moved production to hide the program. What other bad actors are possibly involved? EU, United States, North Korea, before North Korea was liberated from the clowns. That means the deep state has been using this to push their agenda. Did the U.S. know? Yes, the bad actors or cabal did, and they orchestrated it. Where did the cash payments go? How many planes delivered? Some went to Iran, others to Syria to fund secret nuclear program. Did all planes land in same location? 3 planes landed. No. 1 was to Iran, 2 others were to Syria. Where did the uranium-1 material end up? Syria. Now, the uranium-1 material, this is the whole Clinton of selling uranium-1 to Russia. It ended up in Syria. Now, remember that. Is this material traceable? Yes, because each of the isotopes, they have a certain signature and you can trace them. Define cover. Sell uranium to Russia, but actually some or all funneled to secret program in Syria. What if the uranium-1 material ended up in Syria? So they sold part of the uranium to Russia. The other was siphoned off and brought into Syria. So you have a split, but it's coming from the same location, and that is the United States. So what if the uranium-1 material ended up in Syria? Well, it did. What would be the primary purpose? This would be the final stage of the deep state's plan. The plan is this: nuke the U.S. and other allies. The attack would be shown that it was coming from Russia or one of their puppets with the uranium sold to them. And Q says, sum of all fears. In the movie, where did the material come from? Russia. What country? But really from the United States. What would happen if Russia or another foreign state supplied uranium-1 to Iran, Syria? War. What does uranium-1 provide? Cover. So the United States is absolved and Russia is implicated. False flag. Define cover. Uranium-1 deal. Why did we strike Syria? Destroy chemical weapon facility. He asked the questions again. The same question. Why did we really strike Syria? Take out covert nuclear weapons facility to find cover. Assad uses chemical weapons against his own people. That was the cover. That's why Trump came out and continually said, Assad's an animal. He's using chemical weapons. And we go back to a previous post where Trump was missing for, he was out on the 4th and 5th night, and it looks like he might have been in Armenia, where he met with Putin and Assad and put this entire plan together. Now, Obama's Iran deal provides $33 billion to Iran and no real controls on third-party nuke development. Eric Schultz provides rocket tech or nuke tech to North Korea. And we can see that North Korea, the clowns there, moved that tech to Syria for that nuke program. So you see how this is all connected here. And what the clowns were doing, or the intelligence agency, they were developing, and Eric Schultz was in North Korea, they were developing the rocket technology, selling it to North Korea, selling it to the people there, where they're working with the deep state. Remember, the deep state is just not the United States. The deep state has operatives in all these different countries. And they were also taking that technology and sending it over to Syria. And North Korea provides nuke rocket tech to Iran, the deep state, the clowns working in Iran. So what we can see right now is that all of this was planned to get us into war. So the uranium one was the back door to get uranium into Syria, where the deep state would be able to blame it on Russia. Under Clinton, they put on this whole Russian reset facade. This was to get Russia to trust enough to take this uranium deal via the Uranium One deal. Once they bit, the deep state knew that they could ship uranium of the same batch into Syria and blame it on Russia. So basically, the whole thing was being used to set up Russia later on as a false flag event to get us into war. Post 1307. Knowing what you know, Israel disclosure moments ago. Authentic? Why is Secretary of State there? Why is the EU, others pressing to remain in the deal? Think logically. France and Germany came to the White House for the sole purpose of pressing POTUS to remain in the deal. 5% shared. And we can see right now, this whole movement is to basically shut down what the deep state was planning. They were planning a nuclear war. And this was being set up a long time ago, where they were starting to demonize Russia, making it look like Russia was the bad guy, making it look like Russia was to blame for pretty much almost everything. And we see that this was going to be planned to the very end. Now, if Clinton was elected, they would have stuck to this entire plan. No one would have known anything else. Everyone would have thought this nuclear weapon came from Russia, and this was their plan. But now, since Trump is in office and the Patriots are in office, their plan is not going the way they thought it was going to go. And basically, looking at all the information, looking at the paper trails, looking at all these investigations, you can see how everything is interconnected and why there are certain things happening and why there are certain moves that are being carried out. And these are not coincidences. There's always a reason why this is happening. And actually, Q does say this, that there are no coincidences. This is part of the plan. And basically, from all the detective work, from all the paperwork, and from all the trails and all the investigations that are going on that are collecting all this data, it is to show what these individuals were up to and what they are planning, how they are connected, how all of it is tied back to them. And again, you're going to have to do this with money. You're going to have to do this with paper trail. You're going to have to do this with pretty much everything. And this takes time. It doesn't happen overnight, but you can see right now what is happening and what they had planned. It was going to be horrific. There really was going to be a nuclear war. That is what they were pushing, and this is what they wanted. Now, again, this doesn't mean that everything is all said and done, but we can see right now, we can see their plan. We can see what they were trying to do, and this is why North Korea, that was first. Get that under control. Now move out to Iran. This is why he's been talking about the P5+1 deal, because we have the clowns, we have the deep state still pushing their agenda. They do have nuke technology. They could use it. But again, Q is saying, and if we go back to post 1303 saying assets are in place, we're talking about the Eager Lion, which is a drill that they have in Jordan, where it looks like this drill is going to be different than any other drill that they had before, where they're going to be going in, getting the deep state operatives, shutting the system down, and basically doing what they did with North Korea, where they basically got rid of the nuclear technology, got rid of the clowns, got rid of all of it by detonating the devices. And this is why they're saying it was a tired mountain syndrome. Really what happened was they destroyed their facility where the clowns were operating, where the nuke tech was being created, funded, and being brought into Syria. And this wasn't North Korea itself. These were the intelligent operatives that were transferring all the tech over to Syria, where the clowns there were creating more weapons. And if you look at the messages coming out of Iran, coming out of North Korea, it's the same exact message. You have to remember, Iran, they haven't started a war in over 200 years. And don't think for a moment that there aren't deep state operatives in each one of these countries. And I'm talking about individuals that are hooked to those countries, not just U.S. deep state operatives, but people in North Korea that are deep state operatives, people in Iran that are deep state operatives, people in Syria that are deep state operatives. They've been there for quite a while, and they're working with all of these individuals. And we can see the whole thing, well, it's going to be shut down. And this is the process that we're in right now. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.